Is the Bitcoin rise the bullish run that we're seeing right now because of the spot ETF, or are there other factors? And the DTCC listing of planned BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is not indicative of an approval. Guys, we got so much to talk about today. Make sure you stick around for the whole entire video to get all the most important information. I'm your host Amr, and let's just jump right into it. So first, we got this tweet coming in from Rich Quack. Sorry. The God candles coming, hashtag Bitcoin. In the future, people's lives will be defined by whether or not you understood and invested in Bitcoin before the God candle hit. If you don't learn about it, you'll end up working for people who did. Hashtag Bitcoin is without a doubt the smartest thing happening in computer science. No one knows more about the future of the internet than people who are into hashtag Bitcoin, which is why I spend much of my time here interacting with most of the intelligent people in the world. American citizens have an irrefutable constitutional right to secure their physical property. This is true for both things you can touch and digital things like Bitcoin. You have every right to use electricity to keep your digital stuff safe, just like you can use force to keep your physical stuff safe. Central banks are definitely trying to trick people. They say hashtag Bitcoin is bad for the planet so they can push their own digital money, CBDC, that lets them spy on you. And I agree with him, although he is low-key glazing hella on Bitcoin, talking about us being the most intellectual people. I've met sorry, my neighbor's being kind of loud, but I met many people who are in the Bitcoin world who are not really the most intellectual people, but I guess there are, there's something working in there if they're looking into Bitcoin. But regardless, though, it's very interesting to see. Next, we got this tweet coming in from BitPain. Between now and the next hashtag Bitcoin halving, there will be roughly as many hashtag Bitcoin issues as MSTR has in its treasury. Roughly the entire daily issuance is acquired by people buying DCA, and ETF is about to launch. We just spent a brutal bear market bleeding Bitcoin into the hands of religious zealots who plan to never sell. Good luck to any corporation who wants to even come close to Saylor Stacks. He won, you lost, you completely missed your window, you just don't know yet. Bitcoin, we stack sats and keep a low time preference. Imagine all the people that believe Bitcoin and crypto was a scam. Yeah, very interesting. Solid take here by a BitPain. I'm curious as to what you guys think about this. We're going to be seeing more news about this ETF coming through as the weeks progress. Next, we got this tweet coming in from British Hodl talking about DCAing Bitcoin. So he had to say DCAing hashtag Bitcoin only works out better than lump sum if you start DCAing at the very peak of the cycle and stop at the very bottom. Anything other than that and DCA is a fool strategy, and lump sum only works for better profits. DCA is generally for those with an understanding gap. So in case you guys don't know what DCAing is, it means dollar cost averaging. It's an investment strategy where you invest a fixed amount of money at regular intervals, regardless of the asset's price. The idea is that by investing consistently over time, you buy more of the assets when prices are low and less when prices are high, potentially reducing the average cost per unit over time. And lump sum obviously is just referring to investing a large amount of money all at once rather than spreading it over time, right? So very, very, very interesting take here. I don't know if you guys understand that strategy, but it kind of makes sense when you're like, looking at it in terms of long run investment. So very interesting. I want to know what you guys think about this DCAing strategy, and if you agree with him, is DCAing only work at the very peak of the cycle and stop at the very bottom? So next, let's get into some articles here. This is from CoinDesk. CoinDesk is saying Bitcoin is up 100% this year. It's just not because of the spot Bitcoin ETF hype. While most observers tie Bitcoin's recent strength to the anticipation of a spot ETF approval, some analysts offer alternative explanations to the crypto's rise. So let's get into this. So first here we can see the price chart for Bitcoin in 2023, and it's been on a steady run, but right here we're seeing this huge spike coming in, and that's because of the ETF, what's it called, news is going in, and we'll get more into detail about the ETF a little later in this video, but at 34,000 as of this week, and it's up 106% so far this year after 2022's grueling grind lower. Yeah, 22 was a tough year for crypto in general, but Bitcoin as well, really. So let's get into it. So Bitcoin managed to monster a rally over the past week on two spot ETF stores that turned out to be completely fugazis. That the price has barely pulled back even after the fake news has outed suggests maybe it's not ETF anticipation driving the surge higher. To to review Bitcoin plotting along in the very tight range of roughly 27,000, 28,000 for weeks on end was jolted above 30,000 10 days ago after a media outlet tweeted that BlackRock spot ETF application had won U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission approval. Within minutes, the tweet has been revealed as a mistake, and Bitcoin quickly gave back some, but not all of its gain. Then early this week, some observers noticed that the ticker for BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF IBTC showed up trading Clearinghouse DTC's website. Market participants read the news as signaling imminent SEC approval of the fund. The bullish signal caught shorts and the dealers off guard, leading to a price spike to 35,000 Monday evening. By Tuesday evening, though, it was revealed that IBTC ticker had been onto the DCC site for months. It meant literally nothing with respect to whether a spot Bitcoin ETF might be coming or not. Yet the price of Bitcoin remains very close to Monday's high, and at the current $34.4 thousand is ahead nearly 30% over the past 10 days, and more than 100% for 2023. So if not an ETF, then what? So, some analysts argue that Bitcoin is in demand as a safe haven asset, noting prolific government spending and associated rising debt levels, shaky stock and broad markets, and the crypto's increasingly constrained supply. We now have biggest asset managers in the world trumpeting Bitcoin as a flight to quality amidst devaluating fiat currencies and mounting global tensions and war, said Charles Edward, founder of Capriol Investments. You couldn't ask for more. After 2022 tricked so many into thinking that digital assets are correlated to stocks and bonds, many are left scratching their heads at the new old normal. Jeff Dorman, Chief Investment Officer at Arca, pointed out a debt spiral leads to a loss of confidence in banks and governments and repricing of risk-free rates amidst record supply, which is bad for bonds and equity valuations, but good for alternative forms of wealth and money creation, he added. Hedge fund giant Paul Tudor Jones touted gold and Bitcoin as attractive investment options, as well as geopolitical risk and untenable U.S. debt levels make it difficult to own its own stocks. So, quickly to summarize what's going on so far in this article is he's essentially saying, like, look beyond just Bitcoin, look beyond just what's happening in the Bitcoin community, but look at why, you know, people might be looking towards Bitcoin, right? People who are looking towards Bitcoin aren't looking, you know, if they're already interested in Bitcoin, then they're already interested in Bitcoin. But why are people looking for alternative ways to invest and to hold their assets and stuff? Well, it's because of the current debt levels in America. Things are looking very shaky for the US dollar, and a lot of people are predicting that there's going to be a huge crash, and people want to hold on to Bitcoin as such and gold as such, as, you know, reinforcing and safe investment options or safe investments in case these things happen. And truthfully, I think if it doesn't happen, you know, I think it's going to happen soon. That's my opinion. And I think if it doesn't happen soon, it's only being a matter of time that it comes. And, you know, the world is politically, we're in a very shaky place. What's going on in the Middle East, I feel like, you know, that's a whole different topic, guys. That's a whole different topic. We can get into that. If you guys are curious about that, leave a comment in the section below. We can talk about that in another video. But yeah, so I think I wanted to highlight this article, specifically talk about the fact that, like, you know, it's very important to look at Bitcoin is kind of like the frontier of cryptocurrency. At least that's the way that I see it, right? I see it as the frontier of cryptocurrency, and it kind of represents also, in a way, the hype and the community and interest and demand for cryptocurrency as a general. So it's a good way to look at it in terms of, like, okay, hey, what's going on outside of cryptocurrency that's going to be causing people to come into cryptocurrencies, and understanding these things that are outside of the cryptocurrency community, and like more so in the fiat and the centralized centralized money or centralized assets. It's going to be coming in, you know, where they're lacking is going to cause Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to increase. So it's something to take note of and be on top of as well. Next, I wanted to get into this last article here. DCC listing a planned BlackRock Bitcoin ETF not indicative of approval. So there's a few things that happen, guys, and I want to, before we get into this, there's a few things that happen in terms of the ETF that we need to kind of consider and talk about before we get into this article. So firstly, there was a tweet that said that the spot Bitcoin ETF was approved, right? That was mentioned fake, and that's what we saw early in the article. Secondly, there's been a reappeal forced on the SEC to reevaluate BlackRock's appeal and request to get a spot ETF for Bitcoin, right? And so some people have been mistaking that, like, the SEC to be forced to reappeal for or reevaluate BlackRock's appeal and a request as an acceptance of it. However, it is not the approval yet, right? It's just being forced to look at it again. And mind you, they cannot they cannot deny the appeal for the reason that they did prior, right? So, anyways, let's get into it. So Bloomberg intelligence analysts and others pointed out out in X post Monday or Twitter that iShares Bitcoin Trust IBT, first proposed to Securities and Exchange Commission in June, was on the DTCC list. This spurred speculation from some that the planned fund's launch was imminent, but it is standard practice for DTCC to add securities to its eligibility file in preparation for new potential ETF launches, a spokesperson for the financial market infrastructure giant told Bloomberg late Tuesday. The name in the file kept the DTCC subsidiary National Securities Clearing Corporation and SCC include active and potential ETF securities. The proposed BlackRock offering was first added in the list in August, according to DTCC. Appearing on the list is simply an indication that an agent bank has requested a DTCC identifier for an ETF fund, and the DTCC may process the transaction at an undetermined date in the future following SEC approval, the DTCC representative said in an email. The proposed fund's inclusion on the list is not indicative of an outcome for any outstanding regulatory or other approval processes in respect of a particular ETF fund, they added. IBTC directly disappeared from the list briefly Tuesday before showing up again later on, a change DTCC spokesperson declined to comment on. BlackRock has declined commenting on the listing as well. The SEC never permitted a spot Bitcoin ETF to begin trading, blocking attempts from issuers that span back a decade. Bitcoin was above 34,000 Wednesday morning, up roughly 20% from a week ago, amid optimism that Bitcoin ETFs could start trading in the coming months. Fund issuers in recent weeks have been updating Bitcoin ETF applications, which industry watchers say signals ongoing dialogue with the SEC. So now I actually think, my personal opinion, and guys, once again, I'm not offering any financial advice, not encouraging you to sell, not encouraging you to buy or anything like that, but my personal opinion is I think that the spot Bitcoin ETF, the spot ETF is going to be approved for BlackRock, and it's only a matter of time, realistically. Now, whether or not people are going to be able to start trading, I know once that approval comes, we're going to see a huge boom in terms of the price of Bitcoin and the demand for it as well. And then we're also going to see another, what I believe is going to be another huge jump when the ETFs are actually able to be bought. Although we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'd love to know what you guys think about these articles. Let me know if you guys found any value in this. If there's anything I covered didn't cover in today's Bitcoin news that you feel like we should cover, let me know in the comment section below. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a good day. And thank you so much for watching. Good luck trading.